trouble at the door.
Welcome to the Vermont Dog Trainer Show, your common sense, down-to-earth advisor on all things dog training. Here's your host, Ian Grant.
What do you got going on?
We're in week seven.
Okay.
The it's like the dog psychology.
Yep.
But I've been exploring your page
Okay.
with videos, so I do have at least a question.
Okay. Only a question after exploring my.
No, I have probably many questions that I haven't
Yeah.
articulated yet. But in one of them that I had seen, you said, "Do you have a mouthy dog?" Can you please describe what you mean by mouthy? I have my own interpretation of what that means, but
Sure.
I would like to hear yours, please.
Mouthy meaning the dog puts its mouth on you a lot in a playful way, not for the intent to harm, but mouthy as in either trying to get you to do something, trying to play with you. I mean, it's still invading your space, So that's what I mean by mouthy.
Okay, so it is really just an invasion of space. It's not chewing and the like.
No, but we have to look at what's going on in the context of it too, though, because there's an intensity to it. And most people do not care for that unless you've invited it through play. Then it's okay. Like Fitz is not that way with me. May is not that. May does a little bit, but Gemma, when I get her going, she will when we play, full on put her mouth around my arm, albeit gently. It doesn't hurt or anything. So I think it also depends on the dog too. But so if I initiate it and I expect it, I don't have any problem with it because I've created it. It's when I haven't created it and it happens, which it happens going into people's homes to help train their dog. So is that what you have going on?
As far as mouthiness, she is. I appreciate the explanation because I heard mouthy just choose everything, and she is very good about I provide her with many chews. She is a big chewer, but when it comes to my interaction with her, no, I don't have any of those issues. But she mouths at Mia, the other dog.
Yep.
And it's still an ongoing issue. I can't seem to get her beyond this.
Yeah.
I have tried, but I mean, the intensity is different.
What do you mean? So what do you mean by that? As in Vader's intensity is different or Mia's intensity is different?
No, Mia's intensity. Well, I'll take that back. She's a little bit more tolerant. It seems like week by week, she becomes a little bit less 0 to 60 in no time flat. So, but as far as the intensity, it just, for the longest time, it was like every time they were in the same room, they were at each other. Vader was trying to play. And I know she's trying to play. It's very clear to me. I mean, she'll bring her toys, she'll bring her chews and everything. But what I did notice is, and this is the time that it happens, we get off the bed and Mia goes towards the door and immediately Vader is chewing at her neck or something like that. So that's the biggest
it's the
time.
Times of transitions.
Okay.
So that's what we define those times as transitions. So usually going through doors, going through gates, going across thresholds, going from where energy is completely down and relaxed to now everybody's up and moving. Those are what we refer to as transition times, from one thing to the next, or a transition in energy.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Yeah. So to me, all right, I'll pop quiz you here for a second.
Okay. I'm sorry. She's over there. I'm over here. I can't address that right now.
Is she barking?
She is. And
so what is she doing?
She's at the window barking.
What kind of a bark? I can hear a little something muffled, but I can't hear it clear.
It's she's trying to connect with the dogs across the walls.
Oh,
our backyards.
so can she see him or she can only hear him or
She can only hear them.
gotcha.
So another
Gotcha.
dog started barking. She's good. She's recovered.
All right. So think about this. Transition time, the actual transition is your issue right now, correct?
Correct.
Right. And so if we look at it and we try to change the transition in the middle of a transition,
Well,
how's that going to work?
mm, that it's going to be chaos
Right. So if we can't do it in the middle and we can't do it in the end, then when should we try to address the transition?
before we even start transitioning.
Bingo. Nailed it.
Okay.
Okay. So now we know that. So now, how do we build on that and actually how do we address it? And what do we need, if any, for tools to help control that transition?
So her energy level, her brain is going. She is active. I don't know if I've got this right, but immediately she's like, "Go, okay,
Yeah.
go," and
Yeah.
so the brain is fixed on going, and
Yeah.
she's engaged. So I
So
need to.
so let me paint you a picture here. Let's say you and I'm in your living room. You're sitting on the couch. I'm sitting on a chair across from you. Dogs are lying down, right?
Mhm.
It's time for me to get up to leave. We both get up at the same time and head towards the door. And when they get to the door, that's when Vader gets all over Mia, right? This is
Okay,
kind of
right.
like a version of what you're dealing with, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So we know that's the transition time. So this is the way I want you to start thinking about these things too, Tiffany, is what do we have to do and what tools do we need? And when do we have to do it in order to teach the dog what we want in this scenario?
These are hypothetical questions. These are real questions.
Yeah.
So
So think about this.
she's
So what do you feel like you need a tool? Yes or no?
yes, and
Okay.
she has got the lead on from the before she even gets off the bed.
Perfect.
I put
Okay.
the lead on her.
Perfect. So you have the leash in place.
Mhm.
Now, what do you want her to do during these transition times?
I would love for her to walk side by side with Mia and myself.
Right.
And yeah,
Okay. So now we look at and we go, how quickly does this transition happen right now from you getting up and her going, yeah, it's go time. And I'm going to go jump on Mia,
mm-hmm.
like 100 miles an hour, right? Like everything just happens so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to teach what we want, we have to slow it way, way, way down to make it
Mm-hmm.
like a series of stop signs for her.
So I don't. I'm.
Talk it through. I let you just do it.
I'm just so I need to slow down the way I get out of the bed. Um,
Yep.
I feel like there needs to be some level of greeting before we get off the bed between the two of them, something that's neutral, because
But
they are not snuggling, if you will, but I feel like they need to come to a neutral ground before we even get off the bed.
yeah,
Is that incorrect?
I don't think they need a greeting. If they're already on the same bed together, they don't need to greet each other.
Okay.
It's
So
not like a big reunion, you know?
I don't mean a big process, but I just feel
Yeah.
like they need to. There needs to be some set of like an acknowledgement. You're here. I'm here. We're doing this together, kind
Yeah.
of a thing. And so, because Mia is, and this may be the trigger. Mia gets off the bed. She moves fast. She's a little dog. She moves fast.
Yep.
And so she gets off, she knows she needs to get outside. So she's off the bed, Vader's following. And I think that she gets off the bed, Vader follows her energy. Therefore, Vader
Sure.
starts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm even answering your question.
No,
So,
you are because you're starting to understand the triggers, what happens, and all it's the cause and effect, and then it becomes the snowball effect, you know? So what I would do with Mia is pretend that I'm getting off the bed and she jumps off and goes to the door and I sit back down.
mm, okay.
You see? And I wait for
Mhm.
her to come back up or get settled somewhere. And then I get back up. She jumps off the bed, goes to the door. I sit back down.
Got it.
Or you can
Okay.
have her on leash to prevent her from jumping down and going to the door. You can slow her down. You're literally blocking her physically and mentally. Not physically as in you have to get in front of her, but if she's at the end of the leash and she's tethered technically to you, well, there's only so far she's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is what I mean by hitting a series of stop signs to say, whoop, we're not leaving with that kind of intensity.
Yeah. In all honesty, Ian, I haven't worked a whole lot with Mia. All the attention as far as training is it's all been on Vader
Sure.
and for the
Well,
most part. But I
yeah.
feel like that's where the disconnect is. I feel like in this situation, I feel like Mia is inadvertently causing some of Vader's reactions, and
Yeah.
I need to address it. So that's where my head goes.
Yep.
She's an older dog, and the little bit that I have tried to correct in our engagement between Mia and it's I just am not having great success, and so maybe that's where I need to go backtrack a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, but I don't think it's backtracking. I think it's just dealing with what you have now.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't anytime somebody calls me in, Tiffany, I don't look at it like, okay, we have to backtrack from everything that you've done wrong. No, we just start from here and move forward and tell me what you want,
Got it.
you know?
Okay. Hmm.
And so for her, if she's jumping off the bed at lightning speed and you don't want that, well, we have to teach her how to do it a little slowly. And
Hmm.
so you can do this every time you get up off the bed. You just do it 2 or 3 times before you get off. You do this.
Hmm.
You go to get up, she jumps off, I sit back down. You can do it getting up out of a couch, a chair, a stool, whatever. Any transition time.
Very proactively. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not like, okay, I'm going to go spend an hour with Mia just trying to do the bed thing. No, you do it as needed as you're going through the process. And sometimes you're not going to have time to do it, and that's okay. That's okay. You just do it when you can. And
Okay.
so you have her on. I would honestly have her on leash. It's just going to prevent her from really like getting down and going to the door, which would then probably trigger Bader even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't put her on a lead. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, you
So,
just and it's you don't have to do like any fancy leash work with her. You're just basically anchoring her to you and just
yeah.
going, yeah, no, you're not going that far. So then when she realizes she can't go anywhere and then she sits back down and relaxes a little bit, then you get up again. So you always
Hmm.
wait for the brain to come back down before you challenge again,
Hmm. Hmm.
before you teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a good
Uh,
chance, look, in these situations with more than one dog, if one dog is more excited than the other, and let's say Mia's up here and let's say Bader's a little bit underneath that, if you address Mia and she brings it down, Bader naturally could follow with that too. So
okay.
this is sometimes the benefit of having another dog in the home is that if you teach one, the other one's watching.
Hmm. Hmm.
So a lot of times people think I've got 4 dogs or 3 dogs, I've got to go through each one and train each one separately. That's where honestly, when you start to deal with more of like a pack mentality, you can start working with them as one. And
Hmm.
then if one of them flares up a little bit, hey, okay, I get it, but still you need to settle down.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
This is going to sound, I'm going to really, I'm going to tell you my ignorance. I watched your week 7 videos,
Okay.
and let me say, I love the pack assessment,
Yeah.
right? I think I've accurately assessed them.
Okay.
I think Vader is definitely at the middle of the pack,
I would agree with
uh,
that.
and Mia is back of the pack
Yeah.
because she's skittish. And I mean, they were
Yep.
pretty easily, well,
Yeah.
defined. So,
Yeah. So
but
let's so let's
oh,
look
go
at that
ahead.
with Mia though. So back of the pack, and yet Bader's kind of following her because she probably feels like it's her job to take care of things around the house, or she's put in a position to where she has to address things. You ever like, is she barky with you at home?
Mia?
Yeah.
No, no, she's actually pretty quiet.
Okay. So if I come and knock on the door and I walk in, what is she gonna do?
Oh, that's a good question. And not that we experience that a whole lot. So,
Sure.
um, she'll bark. There are times when she barks.
Okay.
So I can't say that's never her situation.
Yeah.
Um, but she's probably more of a situation I see that might describe that better. Like if we are out and out in public and people are around, she is she can't she appears that she can't decide whether she wants to approach you or not. So she'll back in, and then she'll approach you very timidly and then back out.
Yeah.
But
So
she's not.
cautious.
Yeah, she's very cautious. When she sees dogs, immediately she's barking like
Yeah.
incessantly. I don't know if this is painting a picture, but because
Oh
we
no, it
don't
is.
have a whole lot of situations where people come to the house. We're
Yeah.
usually going out in other settings.
Let's say you accidentally drop the leash while she's barking at another dog. What is she going to do? What do you feel
She's
her
going to
intention
go
is?
right after them. There was a time when I don't know what kind of dog it was. Let's call it a Rottweiler. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a big dog, massive dog, and I went out for a walk with her, and we didn't see each other coming around the corner, and the dog literally because Mia started in on her bark, the dog picked her up it put her in her mouth, and it was frightening.
Bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the way she reacts. That was probably the worst encounter we've ever had. So
Yeah. See, so this is what I mean by with her being barky. So for her, it's other dogs, which is understandable if that's kind of with what's happened. But so oftentimes with the back of the pack dog, which are truly sensitive, they're very very sensitive. Back of the pack dogs. So to me, for her, typically what I see with those types of dogs is that they feel like they have to take care of things. So that's what I mean in that situation. She feels like she has to take care of that other dog, either make it go away, create space, and that's where a lot of the bark can come in
okay.
because they're not confident enough to look at the dog and be like, "Oh, hey, another dog. Okay, they're going in a different direction. We're totally fine." You know,
Hmm.
if she was happy go lucky, she'd be like, "Hey, do you want to play?" Or some
Right.
version of that. Or she could just be like, "Meh, another dog. No big deal."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
We've gotten better on the walks when it comes to that.
Good.
That was something that was awful. And I used to live in a condo where our only outlet was walking around, and you never knew where the dogs were going to be.
Yeah,
So,
that's like a gauntlet, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a miserable time to walk.
Yeah.
But but now in the neighborhood that we live in now, it's I can see them. We're rarely surprised by the dogs, and then
Good.
and I've worked on my anticipation of that after reading Caesar's book. I was very cognizant of the way I responded because
Yeah.
I I panicked. I saw the dog coming. I knew how she was going to respond. I started reacting well before she did. And
Yeah.
so, but we've come down a lot. So,
Good.
um,
Well, then imagine where she would have been. See, you were saying how you feel like you've like slacked, right? And you haven't been doing enough with her and everything. But from where you said where she's been to where she is now, that's a huge jump.
mm, yeah,
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's great. Um, do you feel like that question was answered? Because I have another question. I didn't know if I,
Yeah. No,
okay.
I think you're spot on with your assessment of them for sure.
So, I want to. I'm going to interrupt the flow of what I had just started,
Okay.
because that brought our last response. Your last response brought up another question. Um, I noticed today when I was taking out Vader, again going back to me, You know how you have us hold the leash? You trained us to hold the leash as a handlebar, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I've watched your little clip it about where to hold the leash and
Yep.
stuff, and so I've been practicing all of that.
Good.
But I realized today that one-handed, because I don't remember what it was. I was picking something up. Everything went to the leash went to one hand. Vader instantaneously like fell into place
Oh,
because I started walking, and I was like, this is interesting. The only thing I can take from that is that I must, with this hand, if I'm
uh-huh.
holding her here,
Yeah.
then with the opposite hand, there must be a lot of tension that's happening in this hand.
Yeah. Yeah. So typically what I find is when, so yes, I teach like handlebars with like with our arms relaxed at our sides, right?
Mhm.
And so oftentimes I don't need people to walk their dog with one hand 24/7, but I want them to experience it because there's such a big change for some people with their energy and then what they feel physically, because all of a sudden you're left, like you're talking about, walking Vader on your right hand side. All of a sudden your left side goes relaxed and our arm starts to swing and we start to feel that flow of what it's like to walk. And then we start to have movement and flow to us, which our dog feels. We cannot escape that. And then, so you're sharing good energy. You're getting into flow with each other. You're getting in sync, both physically and mentally. So I think that's what you're trying to say here, right?
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
I don't I think it was telling for me because I don't think I'm there yet. Like there must have been a flow that she doesn't experience when I have both. And it's not new for me when Mia walks on the leash extremely well and with a slack leash and everything. And I usually have handlebar mentality, stance.
Yeah.
Um, but for whatever reason, I must be carrying a lot of energy in my left hand and
Tension.
I
Yeah.
tension, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think and I thought about this morning, I was like, am I literally holding my hand up like towards my chest in my left hand? And I think that most of the time it is not to my side.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting moment to kind of reflect on.
So did you,
So
did you walk Mia that way for years? Do you think that's where that comes from? Or do you think it's just now because Bader's a bigger dog and you've got to hold on? Do you feel like you're doing that?
Oh, I think I'm holding on to it because Vader's a bigger dog.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And see, you don't even have a year under your belt of a dog pulling you. Most of the time, when I deal with clients whose dog has been pulling them for years, they're walking like they're holding two 10-pound dumbbells up in the air, with the leash, because they're just so ready for the pulling to start to happen.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
that
good
was a
record. That's
good.
an amazing awareness. There's your mindfulness coming in.
Mm. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. So, um, can I just start? Can I rapid fire these
fire away.
questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you. So this is the question that I have that makes me feel a little definitely ignorant. I watched the clip that you have where you have the dogs go to place, right? I don't know if I'm using your terminology, but you have them sitting on the porch, you have them in
Yeah,
place.
the point of reference.
Point of reference, thank you.
Yeah.
That my understanding is the point of reference, it could be any setting. It's just the point of reference is I told you sit here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I I'm having a hard time relating this back to dog psychology. Please forgive me. Could you please expand on that?
So you mean you're having a hard time with that actual exercise, meaning that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel so silly even asking
You
this
no,
to you.
don't, because so here's the thing, in the dog training world, it's a place exercise, you know? But typically place means go there and wait with anticipation until I release you,
Okay.
because there's typically the release word that comes along with it. So place never becomes a place of relaxation or a place to chill or a place to just go hang out. Place becomes there's somebody at the door, go to your place because I don't know how to handle you up here next to the door. So I need you to go back and hang on that spot until the person can come in, and then I'll release you. And then I'll probably give you a piece of food for going over there and staying there.
Okay.
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 So in the dog psychology world, that point of reference is, hey, I need you to go to hang out there until I come back and get you.
Mm.
And I need you to be relaxed while you're there. And every time you go to get up, I'm going to put you back. So I actually want that to almost become like, not a haven, because that's too strong of a word. I mean, in some contexts, it could be, because it could be a dog's bed inside the house, But in that video where the dogs are out on the deck and they're bathing in the sun, I just need you right there for right now while I, walk around and record this video. But in another situation, it might be the client, somebody's pulled in, one of their friends is pulled in to drop off something for them, but they need their dog on that point of reference. I need you to go chill out there for a little bit. And I'm not going to do it with a good boy, good girl. Yes. Way to go. All right. Free. All those things that add to the excitement of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So think about this one for a second, and I'm going to do a video on it because I was working with a client who she's trying to get her dog to calm down at the front door when people arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done all sorts of obedience work with her dog. But she can't get her dog to calm down, and she's using food too. But if you really think about it, what she used during obedience, which is typically an exciting and a happy-go-lucky time, she's using food to accomplish all the obedience. But now we're using that same tool that represented excitement before. We're trying to use that to create calmness when somebody walks in the door, and that's food.
Okay.
Do you see? So all this food was used in obedience training to be good girl. Way to go. That's amazing. Yes. Here you go. And now we're trying to create calmness with the same tool that is food when somebody's coming through the door. To the dog, I don't even know how that would even happen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see? So, and again, with place, it's typically going to be go get on your bed. Here's a treat, or come back off your bed. Here's a treat. So that to me is, does that help you kind of make it more black and white than gray for you?
Yes. Yeah, it does. I feel like there's nuances there. So that's probably where I'm trying to connect the visual with it, and so I think that it's nuanced. So I appreciate that. I will probably sit with that for a while.
Yeah. It's a good question. Nobody's ever actually asked me that question as far as like, how is that different and how does it go along with psychology compared to everything else? It's good. I like how you're thinking about it.
Okay, thank you. Report out I think is important. I so appreciate you having the space.
Good. That's amazing to hear.
We took our trip to Tucson, the 2-hour trip for the granddaughter's birthday party.
Yeah.
It is really funny to me. I just don't see what other people see. They're all like, Vader's such a good dog. How old is she? I can't believe how well behaved she is.
Wow.
Do you know what was happening on the other end of that though, Ian? She was on the lead and my hand was gripping for life.
Yeah, squeezing the life out of the leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. Don't move.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, I knew. I'm like, okay, well, at one point in time, I'm like, I think my mom said, she said something that made me think that I was just being way overcautious. And but there was a lot of activity. It's not one that we go in all the time. The closest thing is the farmers market, and that's once a week.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I just don't know that she and I are ready for this yet, but I didn't have options. I did, but I didn't like them. So I let her go. I let the leash go. Bentley, the 4-year-old dog that we've discussed in the past, the home dog is what
Yeah.
we'll call her.
Yeah.
He wanted to engage Vader in play. It was very clear to me. And so I thought,
Nice.
okay, we'll go outside. We'll engage in play. As
Yeah.
soon as I let the lead go, Vader bolts, and she goes for the cupcake wrapper that was
Oh,
I'm like, yep, this is why we're doing this all day long.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we just went back. And I mean, I don't know if it was detrimental in any way, but we just sat there. I'm sure by the end of the day, she was absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
But we did a whole lot of sitting in that environment because
Okay.
I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It would be great. And I desire so much for her to be able to interact in a situation like that, but we're just not there. We're not there.
Do you
It
feel
was
like you were
nice.
not there because there was so many other distractions?
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yeah. The kids
Okay.
running around,
That's fair.
adults, food. At
Yeah.
one point in time, she did get loose, and she went straight to the counter with where there was food. I'm like, so I had to deal with that right away. I'm like, this is too much. This is too much
Yeah.
for me. I cannot keep an eye on her and keep. I'm old. I can't
Yeah.
run
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
fast as she can.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't want a dog to ever know that they're faster than us either. I don't. I don't want any part of it. I want to be able to project myself out away from me without having to use speed and force and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
So
it
will
was
you go back
nice.
up there again when there isn't a party to be able to try it
Yeah,
again?
yeah. We're gonna
Good.
go in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And part of that is I would love for Bader and Bentley to be able to have that playtime
Hmm.
because more so for I don't know what Bentley needs, but Bader is really deplete of having some social interaction with other dogs because
Yeah.
Mia's just not cutting it for her.
Yeah. 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 So she
So
needs more, and she probably needs more confidence from another dog too.
yeah, that's a good way
Yeah.
of putting it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you
So
have any daycares around you, Tiffany?
there isn't um there are some daycares. I'm sure that there are plenty. I mean,
Where are you again?
this
You're in
is
Texas, right?
no, I'm in Arizona,
Or Arizona?
Phoenix. Yeah,
Are
I'm
you right
sure I could.
in? Are you right in Phoenix?
No, I'm in Chandler, like about 20 miles away from Phoenix.
Okay.
There's a dog park it's an inside dog park. I'm
Hmm.
not a big fan of the dog parks
No, you need more structure.
because yeah, but I thought maybe if we went to in the inside one, there might I mean, I don't think that there's going to be structure any more than outside, except for
Yeah.
I think that there will be the structure that exists, I think, is that you don't have dogs just willy-nilly doing whatever they're going to do. I just feel
Right.
like that environment calls for a little bit more attention from the owners.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought about taking her there and interacting for a little bit, but I was thinking about daycare the other day. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe that's the answer.
I'll do some digging to see if I know anybody in that area.
Well, if you have a recommendation, then
Yeah.
that's awesome. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll dig around a little bit, see if I can turn anything up for you. I know there's trainers in that area, but I don't know who has like a structured daycare of any sort. But
yeah,
yeah, I'll do some
yeah.
digging for you
I think I definitely would like to put her in that kind of a scenario.
for sure.
I've had lots of people say, "Oh, we should have play date." I'm not ready for that yet. I feel
Yeah.
like a play date is a lot, and
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a lot for me versus a lot for Bader, but
Yeah.
I can see, given the circumstances of the weekend, I can see that I need to. How do I put this? I could really take away from her level of confidence if I don't start testing things. Maybe test is not the right word, but like expanding her
Yeah. Experiencing.
boundaries. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I get it. I think I'd rather you be that way, Tiffany, than be like, everything will just be fine. Let's just do it. And then, you're jumping in feet first and you have no idea what repercussions are. So at least see, you're taking that slowly, which is good. Yeah. Going fast in that way is not ideal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I had another question. Maybe I don't. I don't remember. No, I think that's it.
Okay.
That's all I have today.
Okay. Sounds good.
So,
yeah, looks like we were flying solo today. So,
well, I appreciate the time, even
voting
though
day.
Oh, yeah. But, so,
I never even thought of it either. Oh, well.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, I
well.
hope you have a fabulous day. Thank
All
you
right.
for making time for me, even still.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Tiffany. Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime. All right.
Have a great
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, listen, baby. You could keep your pedigree family. This rescue dog is through with you.